Welcome to one of the best atmospheres in high school football here in Central Ohio. We're here at Olentangy Orange High School for the regional semifinal round of the Division I Region 3 playoffs. Olentangy Orange Pioneers undefeated OCC-Central champions taking on the defending Division I state champion Olentangy Liberty Patriots, a rematch of Week 10 where both of these teams battled for the OCC-Central title, and Olentangy Orange won 26-14. Thanks so much for joining us here live with Storied Rivals Sports Media on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Will Ford here with you for coverage of Storied Rivals football for week number 13, and thanks so much for joining us for Stadium Drive. We've got 6 games on our schedule around Ohio tonight, and the one we're at, Olentangy Orange, Olentangy Liberty, one of the great rivalries in Central Ohio, and both of these teams have had tremendous success over the last couple of years. John Sansbury's Patriots started the season 0-3, played a really tough schedule to open up. They took on a tough Olentangy team week 1, one of the best offenses in the OCC, and lost to them in week 1, and went 0-3, lost 2 games after that, then went on a 6-game winning streak, found themselves playing for the OCC-Central title, and then had a rematch in week 11 in week 12 against Olentangy and shut them out 17-0. And for Olentangy Orange, they've been dominant throughout the entire course of the season. Wes Shrader, Levi Davis, his starting quarterback, Lucas Fickel, so many guys on that offense and on the defensive side of the ball as well. They've been dominant throughout the year. One of the best offenses in Division I, scoring 35-plus points per game. And their defense hasn't allowed more than 20 points to more than one of their opponents this year. So they have just been outstanding, and we get a rematch here in this Division I battle. And to give you the history of these two teams, their last 11 matchups, and the reason why I'm going 11 is because this is the second time they're playing this season, but there was also a season in which they played twice as well, further back, and you see that starting in 2016. Olentangy Liberty won both of those matchups, one in week 9, a double overtime win, 20-13, and then in round 1 of the playoffs, a couple weeks later, they won 24-17. Liberty wins 3 in a row to start here in this graphic that you see. Orange gets back with a couple, but you see now the last couple of years, Orange won it last year, this year in Week 10 to win the league title. Liberty, of course, the state champs, won in 2024, won in 2023, but Wes Shrader took over for Orange last year in 2024 and had to take on an unbelievable Liberty team that was stacked with guys like Andrew Leonard and just their quarterback, was a Mr. Football finalist, and tons of guys everywhere across the board. They had 31 seniors and graduated all those guys last year, and now a younger squad, but still somehow find themselves back in this position here to advance to another regional final, which would be quite an impressive accomplishment, just given how the season started for them and the talent that they lost, and now they find themselves back here. It's been just super impressive to watch John Sansbury's team rebound after that 0-3 start. And we'll take you through some numbers here offensively, and we'll start with the Orange Pioneers and their quarterback Levi Davis on the season. 67% completion percentage, 1,700 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, but he is the dual threat of all dual threats, 759 yards rushing and 14 rushing touchdowns, so 27 total TDs this season. And those are the stats through Week 12. And remember, they had a bye, earned a first-round bye in Week 11, going undefeated. Did not play in Week 11 and defeated Olentangy Berlin 43-14. And Berlin was a team that started the season 0-5. One of those losses were to Orange. I believe that was in Week 5. Berlin wins 6 in a row. They're red hot coming in, and they squash them again. Orange does 43-14. So really impressive what Levi and company have done. And you look at his counterparts on offense, and Levi Davis was Co-Offensive Player of the Year in the OCC-Central. The other co, Lucas Fickel, you see on the left. He's not a quarterback. He's a running back, but 1,500 yards rushing, 138 yards rushing a game, 24 touchdowns, 7 yards a carry. He is a beast. And his top wide receiver, Levi's, is MC Walker, 36 catches for 531 yards, 4 touchdowns. He is as dynamic as they come at the wide receiver position. And this offense is completely stacked. And now we'll move to the Liberty side of the ball, because this is a side that I think has been much improved. We know how good their defense has been. I mean, you shut out Olentangy, one of the best offenses in Central Ohio. You need to have a great defense to do that. And we'll go into the defensive stats a little bit, but I want to look at Liberty's offense because I think that's the part that's really progressed throughout this season. And it's their quarterback, Alex Leonard, who is the brother of state champion Andrew Leonard. 56% completion percentage, 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns. He also has a rushing touchdown, very mobile, can do a lot with his legs as well. But he's a guy that was kind of platooning at quarterback to start the season. Liberty really wasn't quite sure what their offensive identity was and who that starting quarterback was going to be. And Alex was one of those guys that was kind of splitting time, and now that he has been the starting quarterback, there's some consistency there, some continuity, and he's making the most of it. And his top target is Ben Godwin, who really came on near the end of the regular season last year and was huge in their playoff run. Ben Godwin, 10 receiving touchdowns this season on 51 catches for 574 yards. And Grayson Davis, their top back, they really have a couple different guys that can run the football, but Grayson Davis is their lead back, 535 yards, 3 touchdowns. Those are the offensive numbers for Liberty. Now let's talk to head coach Wes Shrader of the Olentangy Orange Pioneers. Had that bye week, get his thoughts on the bye week. He also welcomed his 6th child, a boy, into the world a couple weeks ago. And so how did that impact everything? Did he like the bye week? Did he not like it? Get rest for his players versus kind of keeping the momentum that they've built. Obviously, they weren't jet-lagged at all. They won 43-14 over Berlin, but now they get ready for this familiar foe in Olentangy Liberty, who knows every trick in the book that Wes Shrader can throw at them. So it's going to be really interesting to see this chess match here tonight. And here is head coach Wes Shrader on Stadium Drive, week number 13, live on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Wes Shrader, Olentangy Orange football, joining us for week number 13 with Storied Rivals, round 3 of the playoffs, and taking on Olentangy Liberty, the defending state champs this week. And I appreciate you making time for us, Coach, and joining us as always, man. It's always good to talk to you. And I want to start with the first round bye that you had. I know you obviously played last week against Berlin, got a win, but you had a first round bye, which clearly it didn't seem like you were jet lagged or sluggish at all with that. Some teams do struggle with that if you do have a first round bye or something like that, but you had a 43-14 win over Berlin. And I guess what were your thoughts on having that bye week? Some teams love it to get some rest for their players, but some teams would rather keep playing and just keep building on the momentum that they've already built. What were your thoughts going into that bye week a couple weeks ago?
We liked having it. We got some good practices in. We got competitive a little bit. We took Monday and Friday off, and then we had a full-blown practice Saturday morning. We got a chance to prepare for some teams throughout that week and get healthy. And, some teams would, I would think we looked at it. We would have played Thomas Worthington if it would have been last year's model. And we would rather have had the bye than have that game, just the risk of injury and just we can stay focused and stay sharp, we were okay with it. So I appreciate it. And, like we mentioned before we started, my wife had a baby on that Friday night. So it's really ironic timing, really fortunate timing. So
I was going to say that worked out maybe the best way possible.
Yeah, it did. No doubt. It was wild. Watched the Berlin game with our coaches and got home about 9:30 or 10. And then we went into the hospital at 11. So it was like perfect timing.
Unbelievable stuff.
12:55 exactly. So it was right after the game. We went in, had the baby. I wasn't at practice Saturday morning, but we had a good full padded practice Saturday morning. Got after it a little bit, and then we were in game week on Monday. So
good stuff. Well, then with Berlin, they were a team that they started the year 0-5, I think, and then they win 6 in a row. So they were kind of red hot coming into the playoffs. Yeah. What did you like about the performance against
against them to, pretty much shut them down. And you've done what you've been doing all year, score 40+ points, and you hold them to under 20, which you've done that with all except one team this year.
Yeah, we did some good stuff. We moved the ball and made some big plays. We were figuring it out. I think we had 5 different players with plays that went for over 40 yards. If Jake's, I'm not sure how long Jake's touchdown was, but and then MC's kick return, Treyton had a long one, Zane had a long one, Fick had a long one, and Levi, probably our most explosive guy, wasn't one of them. So it was we were explosive. Right. We won the explosive battle, and we had took care of the ball, and we did some good stuff. So we kicked 3 field goals in the first half. One as time expired, so that was good to see too. So we did a variety of things that we were pleased with.
Yeah, because the offense and defense has been good pretty much all year long. But how big is it to have special teams become everybody knows it's an important facet of the game. Yeah. If you have special teams errors, then that could end up losing you a game, even if you do play well on offense and defense. How nice is it that you're having the special teams contribute and play good football? Like you said, you get good returns, you're making field goals and everything like that.
Yeah, we were fortunate. We didn't know if we were going to have a kicker. Tyler Gibson, Gibby was on our team last year. He kicked for our JV team, and he did well. And then we had him kicking, in the summer stuff. I'm like, he's gonna be good enough. So he's done well. He's kicked a few touchbacks, made some field goals, and we did give up a big return, but we played pretty sound for the most part, and we gave up a fake, but we were in position. They just made a play. That'd been a good play against our base defense. So. Yeah, it was good. I thought they played well, and they just not asking our special teams to win us a ton of games, but we just don't want them to lose games for us. So,
right, yeah, absolutely. Now you've got Liberty this week, the defending state champs, who you played just a couple weeks ago, so pretty recent. Is there comfort in the familiarity of the game that you just played with them a couple weeks ago? I know it was close through about 2.5 quarters before you were able to pull away, and you won 26-14, and that game was. For a league championship. So there was a lot on the line in that game, and even more on the line this week as, the winner moves on to the regional final. But is there comfort in the familiarity of playing against them, knowing that you maybe only need to make a few adjustments to make that game a little bit cleaner through 4 quarters?
Yeah, we know each other well. They know us well. We know them well. It's no different than Berlin last week or, potentially UA next week. Like UA, we've played, only you get to playoffs, you get some right. Unique teams, and we've been playing rematches. We played Tangy and UA last year. This year it's Berlin and Liberty, and I don't know. It's there's 2 sides to it. We're gonna have a good atmosphere because it's who we're playing. We
right.
know each other well. The rivalry aspect of it. Ironically, a lot of their coaches on their staff coached here, and a lot of the coaches on our staff coached there. So we have. 4 guys that spent time at Liberty here, and I think they have 4 or 5 guys that spent time at Orange on their staff. So it's like we're very familiar with one another, just as people, everything. So, John and I are friends, and it's a unique situation. I probably prefer to play somebody we don't know, but we look forward to the challenge, and I think it'll be a fun game, and I think it'll be a good atmosphere for our kids.
Is there a particular reason you'd prefer to play a new team that you would have to completely kind of start from the ground as far as scouting?
Well, they just don't know us as well,
That's fair.
I think these guys know our strengths as well as anybody, and we know what they do, and it's not that I don't want to play. I'm not saying that.
Sure. Well, I'm not. I know you're not saying that.
But it's just different when you know each other. We're playing weeks ago, and you got the revenge factor. But I don't.
Right, and there's nowhere to hide or anything like that.
Yeah, no, and it's good. I like it from the atmosphere we're going to get for our final home game for our seniors. But I do think it's fun to play teams that that you haven't played before. We did it at Grand
Sure,
Bowl.
yeah.
Even when I was at Liberty years ago, we played teams we never saw a lot. So, but that's part of it. It's when you're in a good district like we are, you get this far, you're gonna see each other. So,
right, yeah. Now, how much does the weather especially when you get to this time of year. Like we just had snow a couple days ago, and obviously it's much colder, and you might see some rain or anything like that over the next couple weeks as we move further into these playoffs. Does that impact play calling at all for you as far as how much you run the ball versus throw the ball? I know we had snow this week. I think this Friday is going to be, pretty decent or anything. But does the cold or the weather at all impact the way you call games from an offensive standpoint?
Yeah. I mean, you won't know until you get in there. Like Friday night, we didn't know, and then as the week went on, we saw it was going to be clear, which we wanted it to be clear. I mean, yeah, it'll dictate a little bit, but we're going to be who we are. I mean, we feel like we're a pretty balanced team, so. It depends on how they play it too, what they give you, because if it's a sloppy game, they may give you some different looks, like
right.
These guys, like last time we saw them, they came out in 0, which they've never done. Berlin, ironically, came out in 0, almost like their coaches know each other and work in the same buildings and talk through that. But, we hit a touchdown when they came out in 0 because, we had a feeling it was coming. So yeah, I don't know. It depends on what you get. It depends on what you get. So weather-wise. So.
And how cool has it been to just? I know this new format and everything. It shrinks down to 12 teams, but to be able to play home games, and you kind of mentioned it a little bit, the atmosphere that you're going to have the last home game for your kids on Friday against Liberty. But how nice has it been? You have that bye, and then you play 2 home games in a row. I mean, what's that been like?
We love playing at home. We have one of the best Friday night atmospheres. I feel like it's we get good turnouts. We get good student section. Our band's fantastic. You don't have to get on a bus. You show up. You can go home. So we like playing. We like playing at home. So yeah, we feel very fortunate. And we earned it. We earned that right. So we like it for sure.
Yeah, I love being at Orange games. Any game that I've been to the last couple of years, it's always a good atmosphere, and it's going to be another good one on Friday. And I appreciate you making time for me this morning, Coach, to talk football for 10 minutes, man. And you guys have had an outstanding season, and best of luck against Liberty and the rest of the way in your playoff run.
Thank you.
Now, when Orange played Liberty for the league title in Week 10, this game was tied at 7, or that game, I should say, was tied at 7 almost midway through that third quarter before Liberty kind of had some mistakes, some miscues, turned the ball over, weren't able to capitalize in the red zone when they had opportunities, and Orange was able to pull away and win 26-14. And because that game was so recent, really, you can make the changes. It's not like last week with Liberty playing Olentangy, where they played all the way back in Week 1, which is almost feels like last season in a sense, because things have just changed so much and things are so different. The landscape is not the same. You really are not sure what changes you have to make. There's so much more film out there, but because it's still it hasn't been fully digested yet, and it's at the forefront of your mind, you can make those changes right away, and I'm sure we're going to be tonight. We're going to have another huge battle on our hands, and I can already sense the atmosphere. I mean, as we get closer and closer to game time, to kickoff, we're about half an hour away till kickoff. I can sense the tension starting to rise here at Olentangy Orange High School for this game. It's going to be absolutely electric. The last home game for the Pioneers, and this rivalry between the Olentangy schools is. It's always a classic when these two teams get together, when all the Olentangy schools get together. And I think that was what was really unique about this playoff format and how the matchups kind of worked out the last couple of weeks, that all 4 Olentangies matched up against one another over the last couple of weeks with, Orange playing Liberty this week. Last week it was Olentangy and Olentangy Liberty, and then you had Berlin and Orange a week ago. It's funny how that all worked out, but that's what makes those rivalries so special, and we're going to have another great edition tonight. And now, before we hop into our conversation with Coach Sansbury of the Patriots, let's go through some defensive numbers. And we'll start on the Orange side because, we talked about the offensive side. Orange has the co-offensive player of the years in the OCC-Central and Levi Davis and Lucas Fickel, but Orange also has one of the co-defensive player of the years, and his name is Treyton Schroeder, the nephew of Wes Shrader, the head coach. Co-Defensive Player of the Year in the OCC-Central, is also the program leader in interceptions. But this year he's got 4 interceptions, 30 tackles. But he's also been playing more on the offensive side of the ball this year. 390 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. A guy that can be used as a weapon on offense, but he is just so dangerous to throw to on the defensive side. But saying all that, Orange has another great player, another great defensive back lined up on the other side that causes just as many problems for opposing offenses. And they've also got great people up front in the front 7 as well. But on the right side of your screen, the player I was mentioning is Zane Konzak, defensive back. He also plays wide receiver as well, but he's got 6 interceptions this year. So 10 picks combined between Schrader and Konzak. And he's also got a receiving touchdown, so he can be a threat offensively as well when he gets his touches. Brennan Kessler, been an absolute monster at linebacker this year for the Pioneers. 96 tackles, leading the team in tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 11 sacks, 3 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery. Just a monster for the Pioneers, a team that doesn't turn the ball over much on offense, but they force a ton of turnovers defensively. And both of those guys are beasts. And Treyton Schroeder, co-Defensive Player of the Year in the OCC-Central. And we'll get to the other co, because the other co is on the Patriots. But one player that I want to shout out for the Patriots in particular is Antonio Kish. He plays on both sides of the ball. He's their second leading rusher, 83 yards rushing, and 6 rushing touchdowns. But he's got 2 picks this year, had a pick 6 against Upper Arlington in a win back half of the regular season, 50 tackles. He has been a monster. Really, the last couple of years, he was vital defensively in Liberty's championship run last year. But the other co-defensive player of the year for the OCC Central is Carter Kuhn, and he's on the left side of your screen. 131 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 9 quarterback hurries, which leads the team. So he is getting to the quarterback a lot. Only has 2 sacks, but he's getting to the quarterback and freeing up other guys to get sacks in the backfield, tackles for losses. Hudson Dorsey, second on the team in tackles with 118, 7 tackles for loss, 7 quarterback hurries, 3 sacks. He has forced 4 fumbles this year, and that's what makes this Olentangy Liberty defense so formidable. And they showed it against Olentangy last week, shutting them out 17-0. Had a defensive score. Actually not a defensive score, but a score on special teams. And with a defense like that, they're going to have a chance in every game that they play. So let's talk to head coach John Sansbury of the Patriots about how well his defense has played really all season long, but especially last week against a great offense in Olentangy and matching up against this Orange offense that is so dynamic in so many different places on the football field. Here is Coach Sansbury on Stadium Drive Week 13 on Facebook, X, and YouTube.
John Sansbury, Olentangy Liberty Patriots, the defending state champs in Division I, and moving on to Round 3, Week 13 against Olentangy Orange, who's undefeated this season. And I appreciate you making time for us, Coach, as always, joining us with Storied Rivals. And I'm sure you're getting a lot of questions about, the 0-3 start to the season, and then you go on that 6-game winning streak. But I am curious, though, because obviously you never want to start a season that way, and there's probably a lot of questions that you're trying to answer in your head about how to play better. But as you go on the 6-game winning streak and you end up playing for another league championship, which might have seemed unlikely at first, was there something about the team just needing to gel, or was there something specific that clicked for your team that you were able to turn it around and end up having a great regular season and play for another league championship?
I think a lot of things happen. I mean, like you said, nobody wants to start that way. We're definitely trying to win every game we play in. But we had a really tough schedule, but especially early on, Olentangy, Glenville, Gahanna, really tough teams. I mean, all the teams on our schedule are, and, you lose 31 seniors last year. That's a lot of guys to replace. And, those 31 seniors, they all played. And so we had obviously some things to figure out of who's going to play, where we should play certain guys, what's our best makeup of guys, what do they do best. We had to replace 3 coaches as well, so some new coaches and new roles. All of us kind of learning. Again, it's only my 3rd year as a head coach, so
Right.
I'm learning too. And so obviously kind of a lot of things happened, but I think the main thing was, we have 14 seniors. So we're pretty young, but our 14 seniors are really good leaders. And within those 14, there's a lot of 3-year starters and guys that have a lot of experience. And so lean on them. They did a great job keeping us together, not giving up, not starting to do their own thing and think about themselves only. They stayed completely bought into the team, which is huge. Obviously, we're going to go as far as our seniors take us, and young guys following them, and then us just figuring out what our guys do best, putting them in positions where they can use their strengths and their skills and allow them to make plays and be the best players they can possibly be. So it was a lot of things. It wasn't one thing. It wasn't like this aha thing.
Right.
But just kind of working towards that and just always working towards being the best team we can be.
Now, I remember being at the game week 1, and you were kind of platooning at quarterback with Alex Leonard, who's been starting the majority of the season, and I believe it was Mason Miller was the other guy that was starting. And so you were kind of working through that the first couple weeks of the year, but now Alex has been the main guy starting at quarterback. He seems to have a great connection with Ben Godwin. Their connection really blossomed second half of the season. But what has he shown you as he's started at quarterback this year? Obviously, he's got great genes, being the brother of Andrew, who graduated last year and had a great career. But what has he shown you this year as he's taken over this starting role?
Yeah, just high character guy, gritty, resilient. He's a 3-sport athlete. He's a hockey player. He's a pitcher in baseball and an infielder. So he's a good athlete. He's tough. He's competitive. He's selfless. He's humble. All these things you need from a leader and a quarterback. He's got a good arm. He's a big kid. He's 190. He's a great weight room guy. So he's a strong guy that he runs the ball pretty well too, whether it's scrambling or design runs. And we really started kind of doing that about halfway through the season, calling some more runs for him in particular. And so, he's done a great job. He's been everything we want. He has a great connection with Ben. Those two have a good relationship off the field as well. And so, he understands where Ben is, and he knows Ben can make plays and has done a lot of that. And Alex throws a good go ball. And Ben obviously likes those being called too.
Yeah.
So, Alex has been great as far as everything he's dealt with this year, and just keeps getting better every single week. He's a smart kid too, and so we kind of put a lot on him, and he's done a great job taking care of the football and everything you need from a quarterback. So I'm proud of him and kind of how he's handled this year and his leadership. And the good thing about him is he's only a junior too, so that makes me excited as well, because we're going to have him next year too.
Right. Now, what was the key to – you matched up against Olentangy last week, who you played in week 1, and obviously week 1 kind of feels like forever ago at this point, and both teams are, different now, and obviously you guys are playing much better football. But what was the key to shutting out Olentangy last week? Because their offense really throughout the entirety of the season, I mean, they were putting up points in bunches, one of the best offenses in the OCC, and obviously they gave you guys some trouble in week 1, but what was the key to really shutting them down the way you did?
Our defense has been great all year. My brother, Chris Sansbury, is the defensive coordinator, and he's got a great staff with our defensive back coach, Nate Sitkach, our dog coach, Drew Moore, D-line coach, Ryan Eby. They're great teachers, and they motivate. They get our kids to play really hard, and they really get them to buy in. It doesn't really matter who gets the credit. It's about us. Do your job, and we will make the play. And doesn't necessarily matter who gets the tackles or the sacks or notoriety. They've done a good job of selling that, and our kids buy into it. And our kids play really hard and unselfish, and that makes a really good defense. And that's what they've been doing all year. And it just kind of really showed up when we needed it most, right? Week 12 of the season with a shutout and a defensive touchdown. And so yeah, that was huge. And obviously, you're going to be pretty successful if you have a defense like that.
Yeah, and you'll need to step up again in a big way this week, taking on Orange, a team that you played against for the league championship. And really, you played them close through almost three quarters. I think it was 7-7 in the third quarter at one point before Orange was able to pull away, and they won 26-14. But because that game was so recent, and it was only a couple weeks ago, you kind of have it's all right there as far as changes that you need to make. It's not like it was Olentangy week one where, a lot of things could have changed or anything. It was only, a couple weeks ago. What changes kind of sit at the top of your mind as far as hanging with Orange through 4 quarters instead of 2.5 quarters, where maybe you convert on some red zone drives, in the fourth quarter, or you get a stop? Like what do you have to do to make those things happen against Orange this week?
Well, basic football stuff here where we got to play really good defense. We have to tackle well and defeat blocks because they got a really good running back and quarterback. They get good receivers, good offensive line, so really good offense. So defense will have their hands full and have a good challenge. We have to be solid on special teams. So, that was, we took advantage of some things week 10, but also that's been a big difference in us from week 1, 2, and 3 is we had a lot of special team mistakes early on. And we've done a lot better there with our players. And then offensively, you got to take care of the football, right? If you take care of the ball, move the ball, get first downs, take shots when there's opportunities there, good things are going to happen. We didn't take care of the ball real well, especially towards the end of the game. And we got to score in the red zone. So they made a mistake early on, which gave us another drive. We get down to the 10-yard line, make a few mental mistakes, which cost us, and then miss a field goal. And so against a good team, you got to take advantage of opportunities when they give them to you, and we didn't necessarily do that. So a lot of things that we can do better and take care of, and that's what we're working on. Obviously, even though it only was a few weeks ago, it's kind of a unique challenge of, all right, what are we going to change? What do we think they're going to change? What have we seen? They've only played just the one game since because they had the bye. So
right,
we have the one film, they have 2 films. So probably not a whole lot they're going to do, but they're going to look at our film and make some changes and try and take advantage of stuff. And so we just got to be ready for that.
Yeah, no, like you said, a couple plays away from maybe winning that game if you just clean up a few things. And I'm sure it's going to be an outstanding game to watch on Friday, Coach. And I appreciate you making time for us, joining us for 10 minutes this morning, man. And best of luck against Orange and the rest of the way in your playoff run.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for what you guys do for high school football and our players.
20 minutes until the rematch between the Olentangy Orange Pioneers and the Olentangy Liberty Patriots, a rematch of the OCC-Central League Championship game from a couple weeks ago. And we'll see which team comes out on top tonight and advances to the regional final. And the winner will take on either Upper Arlington, the Golden Bears, or Pickerington Central. So that's going to be really interesting. And if hypothetically Orange were to win and Upper Arlington, it would be a rematch of their, I believe, Week 8 game, or maybe it was Week 7, where Upper Arlington was up 7-0, forced 2 turnovers early, but Orange able to take the lead 14-7 going into half, and they ended up winning 28-14. But that game was really close, and it was only 21-14 in the fourth quarter. So, I could dive more and more into that game, but that's a potential rematch in the regional final if Orange and UA were to win tonight. And UA, really impressive win over Pickerington North last week, 30-27 in Edward Oakley. 3 field goals, game-winning field goal with 7 seconds. Great kicker, one of the best in Central Ohio. But let's look at the schedule. I mentioned Upper Arlington, Pickerington Central. Let's look at the rest of our games that we're covering in the OHSAA playoffs tonight. We've got 6 games on tap. Of course, both of the ones that I just mentioned, Liberty, Orange, Upper Arlington, Pickerington Central. Then in Division III, Tri-Valley defeating Hamilton Township last week, 41-27. They're at Bishop Watterson, who defeated Granville 56-0 last week. So that's going to be a tough task for the Scotties taking on the reigning Division III state champs. And then in Division 4, we've got 2 matchups. Unioto is at New Lex. And then Jonathan Alder on the road at the defending Division 4 state champion Indian Valley Braves, led by Grady Kinsey, a Mr. Ohio football finalist. And then in Division 6, Garaway has been really impressive in their playoff run, taking on Dalton in Division 6 with a chance to move to the regional final. So those are our games going on with Storied Rivals football coverage for the OHSAA Playoffs. 6 games across Divisions 1, 3, 4, and 6. I'm going to get out of here, pack up, and get ready for this football game, but we do want to give a shout-out to our friends at maxeffortmuscle.com, the best-tasting protein in the game. They've got great supplements, protein, workout programs, merch, and they make really fun content as well. So go check those guys out at maxeffortmuscle.com. And also, Storied Rivals, we're always wearing blue, right? That's the most recognizable color with our brand. You've seen me wearing the Halloween stuff over the last couple of weeks, some green and whatnot. But Storied Rivals is blue, and blue is the color for diabetes awareness. And this month is today is World Diabetes Awareness Day. And so I want to give a shout out to anyone out there who may battle diabetes on a daily basis, and you have to deal with those day-to-day challenges. My girlfriend, Hannah McDaniel, deals with that every day, and I applaud her, her courage and her strength just battling through that. She is just a trooper, and I know other people as well who have diabetes. So anyone out there watching this, if you or other people deal with diabetes, if you're diabetic, props to you. And what you do every day to just function to be a normal human. It sucks to have to deal with the highs and lows of your sugar and not be able to be a normal human sometimes. But you guys are, I see it on a daily basis. So shout out to my girlfriend, Hannah. I love you. And shout out to anyone else out there as well. But on that note, I'm going to hop on out of here and get ready to provide you guys with some highlights, score updates throughout the night tonight. For Olentangy Orange, Olentangy Liberty. Follow us on all the socials. And I'm going to hop on out of here, and we'll see you in the regional final, Week 14, with Storied Rivals. Take care, everyone. Will Ford signing off for now with Storied Rivals. Happy football.